There is a lie your parents told you, your teachers reinforced it, society worships it. Be kind, always be kind. Kindness is strength. Kindness will be rewarded. And so you were kind. You gave when people asked. You helped when they needed. You said yes when you wanted to say no. You smiled when you felt disrespected. You forgave when boundaries were crossed, again and again and again. And you waited for the reward. But the reward never came. Instead, you got more requests, more demands, more people who need you when it's convenient and forget you when it's not. More exhaustion, more resentment buried under "I'm fine." More of your life disappearing into other people's priorities. And when you finally broke, when you finally said no, or set a boundary, or asked for reciprocity, they looked at you like you'd committed a crime. You've changed. You're being selfish. This isn't like you. No, you haven't changed. You finally stopped dying. Niccolò Machiavelli wrote in 1513, "A man who wishes to act entirely up to his professions of virtue soon meets with what destroys him among so much that is evil." Translation: if you are kind to everyone, the cruel will destroy you. And here's the truth nobody wants to hear. They should. Not because cruelty is good, but because unconditional kindness is evolutionary suicide. This is not about becoming a sociopath. This is about understanding that kindness without discernment is not virtue. It's self-destruction wearing a halo. For the next 18 minutes, we're going to dismantle everything you've been taught about kindness. We're going to examine what Machiavelli actually understood. We're going to explore what the samurai knew that modern society has forgotten. And you're going to learn the difference between being kind and being prey. Let's talk economics. Every relationship is a transaction of energy, time, and resources. When you are unconditionally kind, you are saying, there is no limit to what you can take from me and no requirement that you give anything back. This is not generosity. This is a business model designed for bankruptcy. Here's what unconditional kindness costs you. Cost number 1, your time becomes communal property. You cannot say no without justification. You cannot prioritize yourself without guilt. Your schedule is not yours. It belongs to whoever asks first or asks loudest. You're not being kind. You're being available. And availability without boundaries is not a virtue. It's a resource to be exploited. The samurai had a concept, ma, negative space. The space between rest, recovery, the pause that allows for power. A warrior who never rests dies before battle. A person who never says no dies before living. Cost number 2, your kindness becomes worthless. When you give to everyone equally, your kindness loses all value. Economics, 101. Scarcity creates value. Abundance creates worthlessness. When your yes is guaranteed, it means nothing. When your help is automatic, it's not appreciated, it's expected. You've trained people that your effort is free, unlimited, and unconditional. They don't value it because you don't value it. Machiavelli understood. Benefits should be granted little by little so that they may be better enjoyed. Translation: scarcity makes kindness meaningful. Abundance makes it invisible. The people who respect you most are those who know your yes is earned, not automatic. Cost number 3, you attract predators. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Unconditional kindness is a signal to predators that you are available prey. Manipulators, narcissists, energy vampires, they don't target everyone. They target the unconditionally kind, because you've already announced, I will tolerate anything to avoid conflict. You think you're being compassionate, they see a mark. The samurai studied opponents before engaging. They looked for weaknesses. A warrior without boundaries was the first to fall. Your unconditional kindness is an open gate, and you're surprised when your fortress is overrun. Cost number 4, you lose your identity. When you mold yourself to everyone's needs, you become nobody. You are kind to your boss, obedient. You are kind to your partner, accommodating. You are kind to your parents, dutiful. You are kind to your friends, available. You are kind to strangers, helpful. Who are you when nobody needs anything? You don't know, because you've spent your entire life being a supporting character in everyone else's story. The samurai called this muga, no self, but they meant it as transcendence of ego, not erasure of identity. You're not practicing enlightenment, you're practicing disappearance. Your time, your value, your safety, your identity. This is what unconditional kindness costs. And you're still wondering why you feel empty. Let's clear something up. Machiavelli was not advocating cruelty for cruelty's sake. He was describing reality. In chapter 15 of The Prince, he wrote, "Many have imagined republics and principalities that have never been seen or known to exist. For how we live is so far removed from how we ought to live, that he who abandons what is done for what ought to be done learns his ruin rather than his preservation." Translation: living according to how the world should be instead of how it actually is will get you destroyed. You believe people should respect your kindness. They don't. You believe generosity should be reciprocated. It isn't. You believe good intentions should be rewarded. They're exploited. Machiavelli's core argument: a leader must know when to be kind and when to be ruthless, and base that decision on reality, not ideology. Chapter 17. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. But here's what modern interpretation misses. He's not saying never be loved. He's saying if you must choose, fear, respect for boundaries, is safer than love, hope for reciprocity. Because love without respect gets you betrayed. Fear without love gets you obeyed. Machiavelli continues, "A prince should make himself feared in such a way that if he does not gain love, he at least avoids hatred." The sweet spot: respected boundaries with selective warmth, not unconditional kindness, gates always open. Not cruelty, gates always closed. But discernment, gates open for the worthy, closed to predators. Chapter 18. A prudent ruler ought not to keep faith when by doing so it would be against his interest. Modern ears hear, break your promises. Machiavelli meant, don't let loyalty to bad actors destroy you. If someone has proven through repeated action that they will exploit your trust, continuing to trust them is not virtue, it's self-harm. The Machiavellian truth isn't be cruel. It's match your response to reality, not to idealism. If someone consistently disrespects your kindness, Machiavelli says, adjust your behavior based on their pattern, not your hopes. This isn't pessimism, it's pattern recognition. Now, here's where Machiavelli and Bushido diverge, and where they align. Machiavelli wrote for princes seeking power. The samurai code was written for warriors seeking honor. Different goals, different methods, but one shared truth: unconditional anything is weakness. The samurai concept most relevant here: Giri, Yi Li, duty, obligation, but also discernment in loyalty. Giri is often translated as duty, but it's more nuanced. It means loyalty where loyalty has been earned, obligation where obligation exists, but not blind submission. A samurai served his lord, but the lord had reciprocal duties to the samurai. If the lord violated Giri, the samurai could leave honorably. Compare this to your unconditional kindness. You give loyalty to people who have given you nothing. You maintain obligations to those who honor none. This is not Giri, this is servitude. The second Bushido principle, Jin, Ren, benevolence. Jin is compassion, benevolence, kindness. It's a core samurai virtue. But here's what Western interpretation misses. Jin was always balanced by Gi, Yi, righteousness, justice, moral correctness. Jin without Gi is sentimentality. Gi without Jin is cruelty. A samurai showed compassion to the honorable, the innocent, the vulnerable who could not defend themselves, but to those who violated honor, who exploited kindness, who acted with bad faith. The samurai showed Gi, swift, decisive justice. They didn't offer the same response to everyone. They discerned. Here's where Bushido adds what Machiavelli lacked: the internal measurement. Machiavelli measured success by external results. Did you maintain power? Did you survive? Did you win? Bushido measured by internal alignment. Did you act with honor? Did you maintain your code? Can you face yourself in meditation? The samurai asked, "Can I live with what I've done?" And here's the crucial part: letting yourself be destroyed through unconditional kindness is dishonorable, because it violates Mayo. It treats your own life, your own energy, your own dignity as worthless. A samurai would die for his lord, for his family, for a just cause, but die slowly through exploitation by strangers, waste himself on people who mock his sacrifice. That's not honor, that's foolishness. The Bushido Correction to Machiavelli: be strategic in your kindness, Machiavelli, but let internal honor, not external power, guide who deserves it, Bushido. Let's be specific, because the goal is not to abandon kindness, it's to practice it wisely. Kindness is 1. Helping someone who genuinely needs it and will use it to improve. You help a friend study for an exam they're struggling with. You support someone through grief. You mentor someone actively working to grow. This is kindness. There's effort from both sides. Your help is multiplied by their action. Self-destruction is helping someone who refuses to help themselves and resents you for noticing. You do their work for them repeatedly. You solve problems they won't address. You enable addiction, laziness, or victimhood. This isn't kindness, it's enabling. You're not helping them grow. You're preventing them from facing consequences. Kindness is giving when you have surplus and they have genuine need. You can afford the time, money, energy. They cannot currently meet the need themselves. This is temporary assistance, not permanent dependency. Self-destruction is giving from your deficit to fill their entitlement. You don't have the resources, but give anyway. They could handle it, but prefer you do. This has become the permanent arrangement. You're not being kind, you're being used. Kindness is forgiving someone who shows genuine remorse and changed behavior. They acknowledge the harm, they take responsibility. Their actions demonstrate change, not just words. Self-destruction is forgiving someone who apologizes but repeats the behavior. "I'm sorry" is automatic. No ownership, just damage control. Pattern continues unchanged. This isn't forgiveness, it's permission. You're teaching them your boundaries don't matter. Kindness is being patient with someone's learning curve. They're trying, they're improving. Progress is visible even if slow. Self-destruction is being patient with someone's refusal to try. Excuses instead of effort, complaining instead of changing, demanding your patience while showing no commitment. Kindness is sacrificing for someone who would sacrifice for you. Reciprocity exists. Mutual care is demonstrated. The relationship is balanced over time. Self-destruction is sacrificing for someone who takes your sacrifice as baseline. No reciprocity. Your sacrifice is expected, not appreciated. The relationship is extraction, not exchange. The litmus test. Ask yourself, if I stopped doing this, would they improve or collapse? If they would improve, face consequences, grow, learn self-sufficiency. You're enabling, not helping. Stop. If they would collapse and there's no one else who can, should help, you're providing genuine support. Continue if you can sustain it. If they would collapse, but others are equally capable of helping, you're not obligated. It's okay to let others step up. So how do you practice discerning kindness without becoming paranoid or cruel. Principle 1. Kindness is a gift, not an obligation. When someone demands your kindness, it stops being kindness. It becomes compliance. Practice. Start treating your time, energy, and resources as gifts you choose to give, not debts you owe. When someone makes a request, pause and ask internally, do I want to give this or do I feel I have to? If it's have to driven by fear of conflict, judgment, rejection, that's not kindness, that's appeasement. Decline. Deal with the discomfort. Reclaim your agency. Principle 2. Observe patterns, not promises. Machiavelli and the samurai agree. Judge by behavior, not words. People will tell you who they wish they were. Their patterns show you who they actually are. Practice. Track reciprocity over time. Mental checklist. When I've needed them, were they there? When they receive my help, is there gratitude or entitlement? Over 6 months, is this relationship balanced or one-sided? One instance means nothing. The pattern means everything. Principle 3. Calibrated kindness. Not everyone deserves the same level of access to you. The samurai had this hierarchy. Inner circle, lord, family, sworn brothers. Unconditional loyalty. Allies, honored colleagues, proven friends. Strong support with boundaries. Neutral parties, general public. Courtesy and respect adversaries, those who've shown bad faith. Strategic distance. Practice. Assign people to tiers based on their demonstrated character. Don't give inner circle access to people with outer circle behavior. This isn't cruelty, it's accuracy. Principle 4. Boundaries as kindness. Here's the paradox. Setting boundaries is a form of kindness. To yourself, you preserve your resources for what matters. To others, you teach them sustainable relationship dynamics. When you have no boundaries, you train people that your needs don't matter. Their comfort is more important than your well-being. They can treat you poorly without consequence. Practice. Implement graduated boundaries. First offense, communicate the boundary clearly. I'm not available after 9 p.m. for non-emergencies. Second offense, enforce with consequence. Don't answer. Let it go to voicemail. Address it later. Third offense, reassess the relationship tier. This person doesn't respect boundaries. Downgrade access. Principle 5. The honor check. Before acting, ask the Bushido question. Can I maintain my honor through this decision? Scenario 1. Someone asks for help you cannot give without harming yourself. Honor check. Is sacrificing my well-being for someone who won't help themselves honorable? Answer: no. Decline with clarity. Scenario 2. Someone who has supported you needs help. Honor check. Is reciprocating support for a proven ally honorable? Answer: yes. Help within your capacity. Scenario 3. A manipulative person demands you maintain relationship despite their abuse. Honor check. Is allowing myself to be abused honorable to my own life? Answer: no. Distance is the honorable choice. Scenario 4. You made a commitment you now regret. Honor check. Is keeping my word honorable, or is the commitment itself dishonorable? If the commitment was made under false pretenses or manipulation, breaking it is the honorable correction. If the commitment was made freely, keeping it maintains honor even if inconvenient. So here's the final truth about kindness. Unconditional kindness is not moral superiority. It's strategic incompetence. You were taught that kindness is always good. That's a child's morality. Adult morality requires discernment. Kindness to the honorable boundaries with the exploitative justice for the cruel. The synthesis: be kind to those who've earned it. Be boundaried with everyone else. And never sacrifice your honor to maintain someone else's comfort. This doesn't make you cruel. It makes you discerning. This doesn't make you selfish. It makes you sustainable. This doesn't make you cold. It makes you strategic. The people who benefit from your unconditional kindness will call this philosophy dark. Let them. The people who respect you will call it overdue. Your kindness is valuable. Treat it that way. Your time is limited. Treat it that way. Your energy is finite. Treat it that way. Your life is yours. Live it that way. There is a balance between the unconditional kindness that destroys you and the cruelty that corrupts you. It's called wisdom. And wisdom knows the kindest thing you can do for yourself is to stop being kind to those who weaponize it. If this philosophy challenges everything you've been taught, but resonates with everything you've experienced, subscribe to Vantarchive. Not because I'm telling you to, but because you're ready to stop being destroyed by the lie that kindness requires self-destruction. You're becoming wise, and wisdom doesn't bleed for everyone. It chooses.